What's up, y'all? This is Alex from the Rim Review. The Rim Review is a page that offers in-depth player analysis and gives nuance to the way you watch basketball. In this series, we're going to be covering every single prospect in the upcoming NBA draft. Some of which you may already know, however, there are going to be numerous hidden gems we explore in the coming days. In today's episode, we're going to explore the 6'1 guard out of Marquette, Tyler Kolek, who I think could be one of the most slept-on players in this draft class. When looking at Tyler Kolek's game, there are a plethora of offensive strengths that stand out. The first of which is his passing. Tyler Kolek had a 2.59 assist to turnover ratio, and he made some mind-boggling passes this season. He's able to create in the pick and roll, he's able to attack closeouts, drive and spray, he's able to just make simple passes, highlight plays, whatever type of pass you need him to make, he can make. And he's going to make passes that some coaches might not even see as a potential read, but he's able to get it done. Secondly, he does a really awesome job playing at his own pace. What I mean by that is a lot of guards will get sped up by an aggressive defense that's pressuring him. However, he is able to remain calm, play at his own pace, and there have been multiple times I've seen him have a nice Nash dribble under the basket where he's able to continue to keep his dribble alive and remain patient until he can get an easy layup. Next, he does an awesome job playing off of 2 feet. This is very Jalen Brunson-esque, and I love seeing Tyler Kolek jump off both feet, keep his balance, and that's a big reason why he finished in the 77th percentile out of all college basketball players on layups. That number is made so much more impressive when you realize that he's short, undersized, and not that explosive. So despite all of those issues, he was still able to use getting his balance, playing off of 2 to get buckets. And finally, I would say he has a very creative handle. While he might not be as explosive as a Rob Dillingham, he's very creative and he's able to have some really awesome moves, and there are just some obscene highlights from Kolek. I will say, with a grain of salt for all this information, he is older than pretty much all of the prospects in this draft class, especially most of them being considered for these higher echelon guard positions, so he has had more time to develop the skills, such as playing off 2 feet, that a player such as a Bub Carrington or a Jacoby Walter could develop later. There are still a couple of weaknesses for Tyler Kolek's game. The first of which for me is I do think he still at times struggles for contact. While he is able to have some really nice creative finishes around the rim, sometimes I think he might get out-muscled by bigger and stronger defenders. I also think Kolek has a little bit of a negative tendency to foul bait, and what I mean by that is sometimes he'll just get a little bump and he'll flip up a shot even if there are potential kicks or other things available, and he's not necessarily doing that shot with the intention of making it, but he oftentimes foul baits, which does not always work. But what I will say is his most important weakness is the fact that he relies on the pick and roll to get open, and he can't really create for himself without a ball screen. He was in the 5th percentile on isolation plays, and he only had about 12 shot attempts in isolation over the entire season. Tyler Kolek very much relies on a ball screen, and he doesn't have the explosiveness to blow by his guy without it. Now, let's get into the film and watch Tyler Kolek play. On this possession, Kolek is going to get the ball in transition and do a really nice job pushing and scoring. While this play is simple, it's good to see him be aggressive and look to create for himself. On this possession, Tyler Kolek is unable to get by Max Abmas, but as you saw right there, he has a nice, slow, and crafty finish to get a bucket. On this next possession, Tyler Kolek is once again pushing for himself in transition. He starts off slow but then accelerates. However, his inability to fully blow by his man leads him to forcing up this shot. What I hate seeing him do here is he doesn't play off of 2 feet and he only comes off 1. If he were to have jump stopped, he could have jump stopped right here, and then he could have easily had a nice shuffle pass to a cutting Oso Ighodaro. Instead, Kolek took a bad shot. On this possession, Tyler Kolek makes an insane pass ahead, and these are the types of plays that get me excited. Look at this. Is this Patrick Mahomes or Tyler Kolek? What a dime and an easy layup. On this next possession, Kolek is immediately looking ahead after a make. These reads look simple, but so many guards right here, even with Oso Ighodaro wide open, would have tunnel vision, maybe have their head down, be looking at their man and looking for themselves. Kolek doesn't do that, and we get an easy dunk for Oso. On this next possession, Kolek is going to push, but keep his head up and be willing to pass, and he does such an awesome job here. What I like is the fact that he first will cut the court, so if we draw a line right here through the court, Kolek is going to dribble past it, and then this puts this defender on their heels and causes this guy to look at him. And then instead of this guy being able to build a wall, this guy comes back for the rim. And so he makes a nice pass, and boom, it's just that easy. Now let's watch Tyler Kolek take some screens. On this possession, he's going to call for a double drag screen, which is just when these two guys both screen right here. He absorbs both these screens and then does an awesome job keeping his man on his hip, and just look how he's not rushed at all here. He has a probe dribble, is patient, and has a tough finish, and then talks a little trash afterwards. That's just great to see. Right here, Kolek does another play where he probes, and he's just patient. He's waiting and is making just good decisions. This feels so much of how I felt when I watched Jalen Brunson in the Knicks this year. Right here, it's a nice extended finish and more from Tyler Kolek. On this possession, he's going to have something called a Nash dribble. What that means is pretty much a lot of guards right here, when they're kind of forced and can't get by their man, they'll either reset it or force up a bad shot, but Kolek then dribbles under the basket, and what's good about that is the basket gives himself a little bit of protection, and then he just has a crafty finish. On this possession, Tyler Kolek is once again going to call for a ball screen. Right here, Kolek gets a switch, and what I love seeing is him just quickly making a nice crossover here and jumping off of two to get an easy bucket. Right here, he makes a nice pass. However, nothing happens, and he's ready to get the ball back to reset the play. He does a nice job backing down his man, and while he doesn't necessarily explode by, just look at this, multiple pump fakes, patient, get his man in the air, and gets a nice bucket. On this possession, it's going to be a dribble handoff for Tyler Kolek. He comes off the DHO here, and ooh, that's just pretty, and that's a highlight play. On this possession, he's going to first call for a Spain pick and roll action. However, it doesn't work. He now calls for another ball screen, changes direction, and scores. What I love seeing here from Kolek is the fact that he recognizes that he's about to get this switch and that this defender still isn't ready. And so he just changes pace, and it's just pretty basketball. On this next possession, Tyler Kolek is once again going to thrive in a ball screen. Kolek gets the ball here, and now completely splits the defense and finishes off of two. This is honestly something you just can't teach, and it's being creative and aggressive and looking to score. There are still some issues with Kolek, as right here he does a nice job probing, but I hate him right here. He's not fully on balance, and this time he doesn't play off of 2 feet, and he takes one, and it doesn't go in. You don't have to force this shot right here. I like that he's getting downhill, but there's a lot more you could do, and you can make these reads if you have a jump stop first. On this possession, Tyler Kolek is going to be involved in a Spain pick and roll action. For those of you who don't know, Spain is pretty much when the screener then receives a screen right here, as Oso Ighodaro gets this back pick. Kolek does a really nice job changing pace, and I think he's able to use this Spain play to get downhill. However, he goes with an extended finish, gets bumped a little bit, and it doesn't go in. Right here, Kolek is going to try to attack the Villanova defender. He calls for a screen here, and then I feel as if he's almost forcing this play, trying to get a foul call. As you see, he spins here, which is good, but then when he picks it up, he initiates contact and is looking for a foul, and honestly forces up a bad shot. off balanced, and it doesn't look good. Now let's look at his passing in the pick and roll, which is so fun. On this play, Marquette is going to run a pistol action. This is one of the most common sets in the NBA, as every single team runs it, especially a team like the Kings, for example. So for those of you who don't know, a pistol is basically this action right here, where this guy comes off and then there's this other additional screener. There's so many aspects of pistol, and it's really mostly just great reads. Right here, the pistol turns into an empty ball screen, and he makes an awesome pocket pass. On this play, Tyler Kolek is going to refuse the ball screen and make another easy pocket play. Right here, it's another double drag, as there's two screeners coming right here. And it's actually a double drag Spain action, which makes it more creative, as this man is setting this back pick on Oso Ighodaro, and Tyler Kolek hits the pop man for an easy three. Another double drag action right here. Kolek gets downhill, and wow, look at that amazing vision to make that insane spray. Really good stuff. On this play, Tyler Kolek is going to have a DHO and then continue dribbling. And I love this because most guards will force up a shot once they get right here. Steve Nash never did that, and Tyler Kolek mimics that, dribbles through, and has an easy assist. Tyler Kolek is also more than capable of throwing lob passes, and he's going to do that in the NBA. As right here, he throws one up to Oso Ighodaro for an easy dunk. Right here, Oso's running a delay action, which is when he has the ball at the top of the key. Oso then dribbles into another dribble handoff, and it's the same result. Great lob passing from Kolek. Kolek's passing is honestly superb. Right here, it's another dribble handoff, and look at this awesome pass to a cutter right here. These are just highlight plays, highlight after highlight. Now let's watch Tyler Kolek as a spot-up player and a look at a little bit of his shooting. Is right here, he steps into a really nice three, confident early in the game. It looked good. He shot 38.9% from three last season. Makes a bad pass there, which is a rare thing to see from Kolek, but he's ready to shoot, gets the ball, and knocks it down. On this next possession, Kolek is going to get it. However, what I hate seeing here from Kolek is this light hesitation, like right there. Shouldn't have happened. He should have just shot it quicker. Kolek is also more than capable of attacking a closeout, and we're going to see that right here. Kolek swings it, which is good, relocates, and then catches it and immediately rips through for a stampede drive. When I say stampede drive, what I mean is when the ball is thrown right here, Kolek has already started to load his feet and start leaning forward in this direction so he can catch it and immediately rip through for an easy score. On this possession, Kolek is going to initially pump fake, and then once he gets his guy in the air, it's a nice straight line drive. Now let's watch a little bit of Tyler Kolek in isolation where he isn't great. I think Kolek could definitely work on this area, and we'll see it on this possession. He doesn't get by his man, and he forces up a soft take. Right here, it's more of the same for Tyler Kolek, as he doesn't blow by his man, and it leads to a turnover. On this play, it's another instinct where I would like to see Tyler Kolek do a bit more in isolation. He gets a switch here, and now reloads. He tries to change pace, but forces up a bad shot. Now that we've explored Tyler Kolek's offense, let's discuss his defense. There are a couple of really big defensive strengths to Kolek's game. The first of which is the fact that he is very frequently in the right position off ball. He does a good job being in the gaps and is just a solid off-ball defender. Secondly, he competes, and there are multiple plays where I've seen him just make multiple efforts to try to win. And being a competitor is a huge skill, especially when you're undersized and not quick like Kolek. Finally, I think he has really great instincts, especially when it comes to gambling for steals. Kolek knows when he needs to stay on his man, and he also knows when he can make a gamble and make a play. That's a big reason why he had 48 steals last season. There are still some massive defensive weaknesses to Kolek's game. The first of which is the fact that he is undersized. Kolek is 6'1", 197, and oftentimes he will just get out-muscled by his man. Secondly, he has very inconsistent screen navigation. There are times where he looks okay, however, more often than not, it's not great, especially with refuses. Finally, Tyler Kolek is pretty slow, as he finished in the bottom third of most combine speed drills. It is this combination of being undersized and unathletic, and I don't think he's unathletic, but he's definitely not the quickest, and it's the combination of those two things that worry a lot of scouts, because if you can't defend, it's going to be hard to put him on the court. Now, let's get into the film and watch Tyler Kolek defend. Right here, Tyler Kolek is going to be in a driving line situation. Kolek's man gets the ball right here, and Kolek does an awesome job competing to get a contest. What I love seeing here from Kolek is his absorbing of contact right here and just being physical defensively. While his man still gets somewhat of a decent shot, it's not great, and Kolek made it harder. Right here, Kolek is once again going to be in a driving line situation. He does an awesome job absorbing contact, and it leads to a steal. I love seeing that, especially against an NBA product in Stephon Castle. On this possession, Kolek is competing and he's trying to make a play. However, he simply gets bumped out of the way. While he makes this shot hard, I love seeing what he's doing right here, bodying up, playing with his chest. I'm worried that this can happen far too often when a guard can just bump him and get a shot off. Especially when you get better, more talented NBA guards, this could pose a problem for Tyler. On this possession, Kolek is once again trying to compete. However, he just gets beat. He's able to hustle, and what I love is this second effort. A lot of guys would just stay right there after they were crossed. Kolek jumps to contest, and it does lead to a miss, but I still hate seeing him get beat there. On this next possession, it's another driving line instance where Kolek could be a little stronger. Right here, Kolek simply gets pushed out of the way, and he's trying. He's remaining vertical, he has his hands up, but when his defender gets momentum, it pushes them out of the way. Kolek isn't able to do what he's done in other possessions, which is when he gets right into his man to bother them, and when somebody gets ahead of steam, Kolek just doesn't provide that much resistance. Now, let's move on and see Tyler Kolek in a ball screen. Right here, Marquette's kind of in a junk zone. Kolek's man calls for the ball. Kolek gets clipped, but he has active hands, and it leads to a steal. On this next possession, Kolek is going to struggle with a ball screen. Right here, he gets beat by a refuse, and it leads to an open jump shot. It's this frame right here that I really hate, where Tyler Kolek is literally sideways and not looking at the ball while his man has the ball. That can't happen. I need to get him into the ball screen and have better footwork so plays like that don't occur. I love seeing Tyler Kolek pick up his man up high. However, on this play, he just gets beat. It's this frame right here where Kolek is fully bent, and he just looks like he got out-muscled and out-quicked. Or, that's not a word, just too fast for him. Right here, multiple moves occur, and Tyler Kolek jumps in this direction, and the refuse allows them to get downhill, and then Mason Gillis has an easy pump fake into a mid-range jump shot. Not the best work from Kolek. Right here, Tyler Kolek is going to get clipped by a ball screen, and then he matches up with his man again, and he's clicked again. He tries to hustle back, and it leads to a miss, but still not the best. Now let's look at Tyler Kolek in off-ball situations. Right here, Kolek does an awesome job running his man off the line, and it's the multiple efforts there that was great to see. It's that level of competitiveness that is really exciting. Right here, Tyler Kolek's job is to be the MIG, which is basically stands for most important guy, and he has to catch this roll man or at least occupy space. He occupies space and then closes out, which is good. However, Kolek is simply too small and still gets beat despite his efforts. Let's continue and watch with more of Tyler Kolek playing in off-ball situations. Right here, Tyler Kolek is doing an awesome job playing 2, as it's his responsibility to be able to close out on both him and him. And Kolek reads the pass and gets a nice steal. On this next possession, Tyler Kolek is going to help up off the corner. So he's going to be in this position to right here to force this guy to think about picking up the ball, which he does. And then he gets back, and now he's back to even, which is great. And he follows it up with good driving line defense. On this possession, Tyler Kolek showcases a really nice instincts off the ball. His team first here is going to send a double into the post, putting 2 right here. Kolek is able to recognize that the man is going to pass the ball out here and has a nice read to get a steal. I really like Tyler Kolek's game. I think that he has the potential to end up being a slightly worse Jalen Brunson, which is an all-star caliber guard. His ability to not be rushed and make smart decisions, combined with a solid shot, crafty finishing around the rim, is really exciting. I think he is an undersized guard, but there is a lot of potential for him to succeed, and I think his ceiling is very high because of the types of reads that he has shown he is capable of making. If he is able to become a serviceable defender, which so much of defense's effort, which Kolek showcases, and so if he is able to put that together, all of a sudden we're talking about an extremely talented guard that NBA franchises would love to have on their team. If he does not hit his ceiling, I still think that his more likely outcome in his career is a very positive one. I think that Tyler Kolek could be very easily a starter that runs any NBA offense. I think his ability to make reads puts him in a position where even if he isn't necessarily scoring for himself, he helps get others into positions. Think of a player like Tyus Jones, who even on nights where he doesn't necessarily get his, he's able to get others involved and help put his team in right positions. When talking about what else he could do in his more likely outcome, I also think a lower end of his more likely outcome with just being a solid backup guard. And there's nothing wrong with that, especially in this draft class. I'm really hard pressed to see a world in which Tyler Kolek is not having a long career in the NBA. But if he does hit his floor, here's what his floor would be like. I think if his shooting does not necessarily translate, we only looked at that a little bit, but he did shoot 38% at Marquette. So I think if he shoots lesser, because he didn't shoot that much at Marquette, I think if he struggles to deal with NBA physicality and his defense is maybe as bad as some scouts fear, then he just becomes somebody that's hard to put on the court, even though he's an extremely intelligent playmaker. And at 23 years old, there is less potential for him to grow like some of these other guards. And in that world, maybe he goes and plays overseas after a couple of years in the NBA, but I wouldn't be shocked if he does go overseas if he becomes a EuroLeague legend. As far as what I think his career could be like and where I would draft him, I really like Kolek. I'm probably higher on him than most people would say, but I like his game, and especially after watching undersized guards really dominate this year in the NBA, I'm bullish on Tyler Kolek. As far as where I would draft him, I would say he's probably worth a mid-first round pick. I do think that some of the defensive flaws, his lack of athleticism and lack of size become a concern, and so I think he probably is he's definitely not going to be a lottery pick, but I could see him going as high as 15, and I think an NBA team would really be missing out if they let him go any later than 23. Overall, that's my take, and thank y'all for watching another episode of The Rim Review.